It was a quiet morning in Saint-Tropez when the news broke. Brigitte Bardot, the timeless French icon who once ruled world cinema, had been rushed to a hospital in Toulon. At 91 years old, the woman who had embodied beauty, rebellion, and freedom for an entire generation was suddenly fighting for her life. French outlets reported that Bardot had been battling a serious illness and had undergone surgery weeks earlier. No official statement followed. The silence was deafening, and the world was left to wonder, was this the end for France's most legendary muse? To understand the magnitude of this moment, one must first remember who she was. Born on September 28, 1934 in Paris, Brigitte Anne-Marie Bardot was never meant to be ordinary. Raised in a modest home, her mother enrolled her in ballet lessons at a young age, unknowingly setting the stage for one of cinema's most captivating transformations. By 15, Bardot's haunting eyes and effortless grace graced the cover of Elle magazine. The world noticed, but no one yet understood how much she would change it. In 1952, a teenage Bardot stepped into the world of film with Crazy for Love and The Girl in the Bikini. Within a year, she crossed borders, starring opposite Kirk Douglas in Act of Love. Her image, innocent yet daring, elegant yet provocative, became a phenomenon. By the mid-1950s, she had become the heartbeat of a cultural revolution. Her breakout in An God-Created Woman shocked censors but mesmerized audiences. It wasn't just a film, it was a moment in history. Bardot had redefined sensuality, giving women permission to exist outside of society's expectations. But behind the sultry smile that millions adored, there was fragility. Fame came fast, and it came hard. The constant flash of cameras, the gossip, the invasions into her private life, they began to eat away at her spirit. Bardot once said, "I gave my youth and my beauty to men. I am going to give my wisdom and my experience to animals." It was a declaration of exhaustion and escape. Even as her career soared, the price of being a living symbol of desire became unbearable. Throughout the 1960s, Bardot starred in a string of films that cemented her status as an international star. His Father's Portrait, Royal Affairs in Versailles, and The Truth. She worked alongside cinematic legends, but her most haunting performances often mirrored her own inner turmoil. A woman trapped by her image, yearning for peace, and by the early 1970s, she decided she had given enough. Just before turning 40, she walked away from the spotlight. Her final film, The Edifying and Joyous Story of Colonneau, was ironically titled because for Bardot, there was little joy left in fame. She retreated to her villa in Saint-Tropez, the seaside town she had helped make famous. What was once her playground became her sanctuary. But she didn't fade away. Instead, she found a new purpose, saving lives, just not human ones. In 1986, she created the Brigitte Bardot Foundation for the Welfare and Protection of Animals, dedicating her fortune, voice, and time to the voiceless. It was her redemption arc, her quiet rebellion against a world that had objectified her. Still, even as she aged gracefully away from the screen, her health began to decline. Friends noticed how frail she had become, though her spirit remained unbroken. In July 2023, she was rushed to her estate's medical wing after struggling to breathe during an intense heat wave in southern France. Her husband, Bernard Dormal, described it as a moment of respiratory distraction, downplaying the seriousness, but insiders later admitted it was much more severe. Bardot recovered, but it was a warning. Her body was beginning to surrender, even if her will refused to. Now, 2 years later, that same fear has returned, stronger than before. According to local reports, Bardot has been hospitalized since late September, undergoing surgery and intensive treatment. The nature of her illness remains a mystery, but those close to her describe the situation as delicate. Her husband has been by her side constantly, guarding her privacy as fiercely as she once guarded her freedom. Fans around the world are clinging to updates, flooding social media with prayers and tributes. Old photos from her golden years have resurfaced. Her smiling on the beach in Saint-Tropez, her hair kissed by sunlight, her eyes filled with mischief. The images remind people not just of a movie star, but of a spirit, wild, defiant, and utterly original. There will never be another like her, one admirer wrote, and they're right. Bardot didn't just act. She changed the way the world saw women, powerful, sensual, imperfect, and human. Her life was not without shadows, scandals, heartbreaks, failed marriages. She endured them all, but even those storms shaped her into the woman she became, fierce, independent, and unwavering in her convictions. She once said, "I'm not made for marriage. I was born to be free." And she lived exactly that way, unfiltered, unapologetic, and unforgettable. Today, as she lies under medical supervision, France is holding its breath. The same nation that once criticized her now prays for her. The same media that once chased her now whispers in reverence. Brigitte Bardot is more than a name. She is an era, a revolution, a memory. Whether she recovers or not, her legacy has already transcended time, because Bardot was never just a woman. She was a storm, beautiful, reckless, necessary, and even if her voice grows faint, her impact will echo through every artist, every activist, every woman who ever dared to live on her own terms. She didn't just make films, she made history, and as the world watches and waits, one question remains. Will Brigitte Bardot's story end quietly, or will she rise once more, as she always has, against all odds? What part of her journey touched you the most? Let us know in the comments below.